but he invested in young people. So yesterday, after the memorial service, a young lady comes up, and she comes up to share with me that it was because of this man who invested in her that not only did she finish her high school, not only did his pushing and encouragement, calling her, drive her to college, not only did drive her, never in her mind thinking of anything beyond getting a GED, going on to get her master's, and now she's entered into a PhD program that deals with young adults who have been locked up in writing a thesis on how to make a difference in their lives. She said, this man, in his persistence, made a difference in my life, gave me the strength. When I wanted to quit, he ran alongside me, he called me, he identified a gift he saw in me, he believed in me, and I thank God for his life because it's made all the difference in the world. That's being generous. Generous of time. Many of you are very generous in many ways with your time. Not only here at Grace, not only through the mobile food pantry or Friday Fun Fest or in other kinds of ways, you are generous of your time as you serve in the community, investing in others. And I thank God for you. I thank God for you as well for your generosity financially that has enabled us as a ministry, quite frankly, to bless many people this year who have been down and out, who have been experiencing a hard time, and to invest in young people's lives. It is making a difference. We plant seeds, but God gives the growth. We may not see all the evidence of everything that we've accomplished, but God certainly blesses the work that we put forward. In 2 Corinthians 9:8 it says, and God is able to provide you with every blessing in abundance, so that by always having enough of everything, you may share abundantly in every good work. And my confirmation verse says, and where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Where's your treasure at today? What is it that you value the most? May it be said of us. May it be said by your children, your grandchildren, those who know you. May it be said of us that we love the Lord. And that we demonstrate that with our generosity that we give back to God. Number 4, do it first. First thing. When establishing a new habit, you need to do it first. Otherwise, when you put your feet on the floor, especially those of you who have tried to break free of some addictive habits, whether it be food-related, whether it be alcohol-related, whether it be drug-related, whatever it might be, if you don't set your mind on it when you first wake up and you think you're going to slide into your day, those are the days when we run into trouble. Those are the days when we find ourselves in water too deep for ourselves. So set your mind on it first thing in the morning. If you're going to establish a habit of reading Scripture, for instance, start small, but start first so that you can chew on it throughout the day and meditate on it so it might be carried within you. First fruits. In Deuteronomy 16, it talks about first fruits harvest. We had farmers in South Dakota in our first parish who the first truckload of wheat out of the field or the first truckload of corn out of the field, the farmer would have that truckload hauled to the elevator in town, dumped, and a check written to the church. First fruits. No matter what the price was, they weren't going to hold on to it. First fruits. When it comes to giving, certainly we get the sense in Scripture about writing the check to generosity, the check to God's mission to the church as being the first check. Otherwise, it's tempting to wait until we've paid all the bills and then we look in the fridge to see what the leftovers are, rather than taking and setting our heart intentionally at the front end. Number 5, proportional. And you might wonder, how in the world does proportional work on any habit that we're doing? Well, on the Chicago Marathon weekend, there are some in our midst who, based on their health and based on their shape, in all likelihood, are never going to run a marathon. Isn't that right? Some of you just know at this point in your life, because you've had a new hip, you've had some new knees. Might be this really isn't your thing. It's proportional. So if you're able to run 1 mile, then rejoice in the 1 mile that you can run and run that well. I know that if I were running today, I would not be finished yet, despite the fact that there are some people who are going to finish in the next 10 to 20 minutes, both men and women. Some are finishing even now. Try my best at 54 years of age, and even when I was 18, 19, or 20, you know what? Proportionally, I am not a world-class runner, okay? I love to run, but I'm not world-class. That's not an escape, but it's a recognition. So proportionally, you do what you're able to do. Not all of us have the best singing voice in the world, isn't that right? You hear some of that in the liturgy. Proportionally, you do the best that you are able to do. All right? So whether it's in our gardening or whatever other habit that you're doing, we do it to our best, but we don't grind our teeth that we can't do it as well as somebody else, or quit because we can't do it the best within the class. Proportional says financially that we give according to the means given to us. Now, some of you likely have seen that your income, I'm aware of some in the congregation who have looked at their income, and their income is not the same today as it was 2 years ago. Some of us have suffered greatly in this economy, and therefore we're not able proportionally to give the same amount. We used to give maybe $40, and today, because of what's happened to us, we can only give $5. But rather than feel guilty about the fact that we can no longer give 40, proportionally we look at it and we see that it's the same percentage. Therefore we can rejoice, and therefore we can celebrate that we are still tithing. But the challenge is there for others of us to grow as well in our proportion, because God has blessed us abundantly. And so as we grow by 1% to 2% per year proportionally, we're able to strive towards 10%, towards being tithers. Few of us can make the jump from giving 2% to 10% without wanting to quit in the middle of the race. So thanks be to God that God has given us different abilities, and therefore we celebrate in that, and finally giving cheerfully.